Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Ryan. Ryan is creator of 80s Cinema and 90s Back to the Future. How's everything going with you, Ryan?
Everything is good. It's been a long, long day. It's been a long week, actually.
It has. It's only Thursday.
Yeah, it is only Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend. How about you?
I work this weekend, so not looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
off on the weekends. Thank God. It's been long.
all right. So we're not here to talk about 80s cinema or 90s future. We're here to talk about something a lot, bigger, I think, and that's your weight
Mhm.
loss journey, right?
Yeah.
First, before we start this, I want to say you are a true inspiration to me. Every time I feel like I don't want to walk, I'd rather go out than come home and cook. I look to your page and I'm like, he's getting up, busting his butt at what, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Go for this
hmm
walk. Just do it. So I want to say thank you, and I am, you know, such an inspiration to you. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for being that
Thank you.
and sharing your story because it's not an easy story to share.
No. Let me tell you, it's something that I've been struggling with for years. And I think that it'll always be a struggle. The struggle really never goes away. It's how you deal with it, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I mean, just like you, I had the same problem. This is not just something that popped up here. It's a lifelong. You didn't get here in one day. You got here over a period
Right.
of time. So it's going
hmm
to take a period of time.
Correct.
So you lost over 100 pounds. What has been
hmm
the most difficult part of this journey?
Um, the most difficult part for me is being around certain things. I know my triggers, and sometimes I give in to those triggers. I'd be lying to you if I said today I didn't have peanut M&Ms. I did. I'm, I'm, I am as real as it gets when it comes to this. My main thing is, as long as I remain consistent, a bag of peanut M&Ms is not going to hurt me. Now, doing this every single day, maybe having 2 to 3 bags a day might. Actually, it will. There's no might, it will. So you have to be able to know your do's and don'ts. And this is going to be almost 7 months for me on this journey to where I'm like, all right, if I have this today, that means you cannot have this or anything else that's when I say like I call it bad food, you can't have any bad food for like the next 6 to 7 days because there's so much that goes into it. Your blood sugar, your fat cells just want everything from you. So it's just kind of like, all right, if I have this today, I know for a fact like for the next 6 to 7 days, I'm not going to touch anything and I'm just going to remain on track. So I feel like my biggest thing on this journey is being around the things that will trigger me and it's that's I'm a sugar addict. I like sugar. So for me, it's like if I'm going to the store and I see like apple cider donuts. I was in Trader Joe's yesterday. Apple cider donuts are right there, and I'm like, man, like it's so hard. It really, really is hard. And I have to think like, yeah, would one hurt me? Absolutely not. But there's six in a box.
Hmm.
I don't trust myself around that. So I would say being around the things that I love is the toughest part to be able to have control.
You know what? Funny thing you say about the control because I know for me it's the Haagen Dazs ice cream. I can't go
hmm
past that without like, Bree, you can't have this right now.
hmm
It's not for you right now. And you
Sure.
talk about trigger foods. I don't think people understand when you say trigger foods. It's like, yes, the normal person can have, one donut, but if you have like a addicted to it or just this like fiending for it, it's like one donut turns into two, turns into three, and then you wake up, the whole box is gone.
Correct. It's more of the sugar. At least for me, it's more of that taste, that satisfaction feel of when I'm eating something that's sweet. Um, I, from what I've been told, um, it's like an addiction, right? It would be the same thing with a drug addict getting a hit off of something. It's the same thing. It's the same feeling. The feeling that I would get again eating peanut M&Ms, just that sweetness taste. It's satisfying. You have to figure out why it's satisfying. There's a reason. I was actually talking to somebody about this earlier. There's a reason why we find it so satisfying when eating certain things. You could like something, sure. I mean, I like steak, I like potatoes, right? But What do I like more than steak and potatoes? Ice cream, candy. I like coffee. If I would, I stopped drinking coffee. Like I'll have coffee every once in a while, but I would have, as my girlfriend puts it, I would have coffee with my creamer, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because my creamer, I would put this much creamer in it and this much coffee. And creamer is full of sugar. So, it's you have to know why you do what you do. And for me, with all of this, I started therapy. What's this? This is August. I started therapy in February. I was very against it because I didn't want to go through those motions. I didn't want to know why I was doing those things. And I feel like, actually, I know this. Anybody who's severely overweight, there's some type of trauma that comes along with it, whether it was in your adult years, it was when you were teen years, or your childhood. Um, there's a lot of things for me uh, that had happened when I was a kid, teenager, adult. Everybody goes through life. That's life, right? Struggles. But for me, it was not growing up with my dad. I had no male role model really there. I was raised by all women. Um, coming from a very strict Italian family, who they're a bunch of eaters as well. They're everybody was overweight in my family. Everybody. And there was no judgment there. The judgment was outside. It was okay to be really overweight and eat a whole pack of Oreos, you know what I mean, without any type of judgment, versus being outside and somebody looking out and being like, wow, like, look at this guy. Like, it's insane. So there's that for me, there's a lot of things that went on back in the day. And when I'm in therapy and we talk about it, brings it up. And I remember, sometimes I block it out and then I remember, and it's been helping me because now, when I speak to my therapist, she's like, well, maybe we can remember to do this, or maybe you can remember to do that, and remember why you're doing these things and why you need to stop. And that, what I really feel like, is what's been helping me, along with the way I've been eating as well and exercising, sure. But eating and exercising can only go a long way, because if you're not focused on why you're doing this, it's not going to work.
Wow. 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 That was really good. So let's talk about dieting. I
Mm-hmm.
see on your page that you started keto a couple months back. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen so much about keto. It's one
Mm-hmm.
thing, you can eat butter, you can eat this, you can eat that. Keto looks so different to so many different people. What does keto look like to you?
I'll tell you, I fell into keto by accident. Um, I I had a nutritionist when the pandemic first started, because I wasn't working and I was like, I feel like I'm just going to gain a ton of weight, and I really was like, I just really want to do something. I was laying in bed, and my girlfriend was taking a nap next to me, and she woke up and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm looking at this guy's profile, and he was a weight loss coach, and I lost well over 100 pounds with him by doing his thing, not keto." And then I said to him, I really do want to try keto. And he was like, we could try it. I know about it if you really want to do it. And like, not even a week into it, I was getting a headache. I was getting sick. And I was like, yeah, no, screw keto. I'm not doing this. Right. I stopped losing weight. And then eventually I moved, because I was living in New York. We moved to Florida. And then I wanted to have a revision, because I did have gastric sleeve surgery in 2014. I gained I didn't get as high as my highest weight, but I was at 480 pounds. And I wanted to do a revision. And my mom's party was coming up. We were going back to New York, and I was really, really heavy. And I said, wow, I got to lose so much weight before April, because I don't want to go back to New York and people be like, wow, like, what happened to you? So they denied my revision. My doctor was like, we got to do something. Got to do something. I was like, I don't know what to do. Came home, I spoke to my girlfriend about it. And I started looking on Instagram. I just started looking for healthy recipes. And then I found a page where this woman does nothing but make like low carb food. And I was looking for the foods that I like pizza, macaroni and cheese pasta, uh, breaded chicken, things like that. And I was like, I wonder if I could make it a certain way. And then I started following the recipes. And then I made something one night and I made my girlfriend taste it. And then she's like, "What did you put in this?" And I told her, "Oh, it was like it's butter. Little, I made this with a little bit of olive oil. There's some cheese in it. It's got some broccoli. It's got chicken." And then she was like, "This is keto." And I was like, "Is it?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay." Well, I did that for the whole week. Ate certain things off this woman's page. I weighed myself the week after that, and I was down 16 pounds.
In one
And
week?
I was in 1 week. I was just down in water. I started walking. I wasn't lifting. I wasn't working out anything crazy. And I was like, all right, 16 pounds. I know it's water weight. It's not going to be anything crazy. Let's keep going, right? I found some other things on her page, and then I started looking up low carb recipes and just making that. I started looking up what fathead dough is, and then I started making these meals, and I would have them in the fridge, and I just came grab and go because I work from home. And all of a sudden it just started to the weight started to come off, and I was like, all right. Then I started to find other people's pages on keto, but then I started to really respect it. And I said, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I since I'm starting to respect it, I want to learn about it. I want to know what this is, why this is happening, why this is working for me. Because if I feel like if I don't understand it, how am I going to maintain this? Because the minute I go off of it, what's going to happen? The second that I decide to have a regular slice of pizza or Chinese food or a piece of fried chicken, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to get sick? I didn't know. So I needed to know about it between the blood sugar levels and all that stuff. And I found out my body type. I found out whether I was insulin resistant. And I started to look up all these things and I started to work it in my favor. And I was like, you know what? I finally found something that works for me. So I need to stick with this and I need to know it like I would know something that I'm really, really interested in. And if you ask anybody that knows me, if I'm laying in bed and I'm looking at something, it would be mostly either an article about it on how to like drop your blood sugar level, maybe going for a walk, different exercises, because of the way that this makes me feel between the fasting and between the eating. My mind is so clear. I feel like when I eat stuff like regular ice cream, sugar candy, my mind is not as bright and open. It not only makes me physically tired, it makes me mentally tired when I eat like I used to. So, keto to me means a lot of different things. I don't have a definition for it, but I can tell you that if it won't work for everybody, but if you tried it and you really stuck to it and you were gung ho about it, there's I would say anywhere from a 75% to an 85% chance of it working versus it not working for somebody that's overweight. I when I had gastric sleeve surgery, pretty much after the surgery, it's pretty much keto. It's exactly what it is. They tell you no starch, no fruit, no potatoes, no, like no corn, and nothing that has no nutritional value. You cannot eat, not even carrots. Carrots have sugar in them, peas have sugar in them. They tell you all that stuff. And that's how I lost most of my weight. After 6 months of surgery, I was losing weight like it was nothing. So kind of went back to that. And it works, at least for me. But I can also do it. I can stick to eggs, chicken, cheese, beef, and so forth. Some people can't do it. My girlfriend, she hates it sometimes. She's like, I don't know how you do this. My blood panels are good.
Um, Looking through your page, you said you were overweight through child to adulthood. You talked about your father not being in your life, kind of walking out, not being in your life. What are some other contributors that led to the massive weight gain?
um, let's see. There was a lot of things. Growing up like I said, in an Italian household with all women, um, I wasn't really allowed to have any friends over. I was always the biggest kid in class. I always had a lot of fights, especially in elementary school. Uh, not only being tall, being the heaviest in the class, right? Um, being without a dad, always being awkward because I like different things. I was a huge wrestling fan. I liked video games. Other kids, they liked the similar things, but I was always the oddball out because I was always the biggest. So I was an easy target. I think the biggest thing for me was not having my dad around. Um, it was tough. My dad was doing some time, and it's hard. Kids talk and they say cruel things, and there were several times where kids, like had, oh, show and tell or bring my dad to class day and stuff like that. And I'll never forget, like some of the kids like, where's your dad? And I'm just like, there was a point in time where I didn't know. My mom didn't tell me that my dad was in jail until I was like 7, 8 years old. So I mean that it's kind of hard when you're in kindergarten and first grade, and like I said, kids are bringing their dads up to school, and you don't know where your dad is. Um, I was very spoiled. I don't want to say that I wasn't very well taken care of. My family loved me. I had everything, but once my dad got out, it made things worse for me. Um, because my dad wanted certain things done his way, and he felt like I was spoiled. And then I would be lying, and I'm very open about this. I'd be lying if I said that my dad wasn't a big factor to me gaining a lot of weight. He was very upset about my weight. He blamed my mom for my weight, and he was like, what are you doing to him? There were certain things that I remember that I just like, I don't hate my dad for it. I understand it. But parents back then don't maybe understand how to go about a lot of different things, how to say certain things, because it's hurtful. I had what they call today man boobs, right, as a kid. And my dad was like, why do you have those? You're a boy. Like, what's going on here? That's something that I'll never, ever forget. I can forgive, but I'll never forget that. So growing up and moving out into Long Island, because I lived in Brooklyn, moving out to Long Island, my weight just kept going up and up and up, and it didn't stop. By the time I was a senior in high school, I was pushing like 370. Now I'm 6 foot, but still 6 foot, 370 pounds at the age of 17 is not good. Not good at all.
370, yeah.
Yeah, not good at all. So I had a lot of problems going on. I had high blood pressure. I didn't start my senior year I started it like 3 weeks late because I was in the hospital with heart arrhythmia because I collapsed in an amusement park because I was so heavy and it was hot out. There was a lot of things that were going on. My whole family lost some of it. Like my aunts who were helping raise me and stuff, they lost their jobs. So there was a lot of things going on. And all I did was console myself and surround myself with food and video games. That's all I did. That's all I did because those were the two things that gave me joy. I didn't have joy from anything else. So it's tough. It's when you don't have. I didn't have really any close friends. The one friend that I did have, he moved, so I didn't have really my cousin who's like my brother. He ended up moving out and like getting a girlfriend and getting serious with her, and that's understandable. But when you don't have many people, and I wasn't opening up to my mom or my family, so you tend to open up to the things that are going to hurt you the most, which is food, constant just gaming and not doing anything else. I wasn't moving, wasn't doing anything at all. I would literally go to work, come home, eat, go to sleep, play some video games, do it all over again, and then every single day. And eventually it led to me gaining up to 574 pounds.
We talked about this a little earlier in the interview about food addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol you can cut. You don't no more drinking. Drugs you can
Correct.
no more drinking. Gambling, don't go to the casinos. You can quit. But you have
Correct.
to eat to maintain a certain lifestyle. You have to eat, and
I
like
love that.
that trauma, that trigger, or you're looking for comfort. You're looking for a friend. Food is
Mm-hmm.
right there. That ice cream is right there. That
Mm-hmm.
bananas there. That milkshake. It's always there. It's so comforting, and it becomes so comfortable. So I
Right.
completely understand with this addiction of like this falling in love with food, trying to
Mm-hmm.
replace friends, trying to replace family, trying to block out everything that's not working in life. Let me
Mm-hmm.
replace it with something that I know it's always going to be there for me.
100%. I always say this all the time. Food has no, there's no judgment there. Food is delicious. Food will give you joy because it's so good, right? It gives you comfort. And especially if you like it, there's nothing to me, even until this day, there would be nothing more. And I'm still a gamer. I love my video games. I mean, that's what I do as a hobby. Like once I'm done with work, because I work from home, I'm staring at a screen all day. If it's not really hanging out with my girlfriend, going into the next room, I'll just hang out and I'll play my game for a little bit and just like decompress. But there would be nothing better to me than to just hang out and like maybe get some pizza and just lay back and like play some video games. But realistically, what is that doing for me? It's doing nothing for me but hurting me. And when there comes a time where I got to go out and be around people and be around in the world, that's where I suffer the most consequences because I can't fit into things. I can't do certain things. This is the first year since like 2015. I haven't had any issues like fitting in a booth. I went to Epcot in March. Was it March? Yeah, I went to Epcot in, oh, no, I'm sorry. I went to Epcot in April and I fit on every single ride in that theme park. That's the first time in like 7 to 8 years that I didn't have to worry about it. I felt like once I fit into everything there, I was like, all right, now I could fit into any booth. But where are we going to eat? Like, let me sit down somewhere. So the feeling for that was just, and that it goes back to what I was saying before. Like, yeah, sure, I could sit here and play video games and have an order a pizza, order some Chinese food, and just hang out. But what realistically is that doing for me? And what am I getting from it? And why am I doing it? Now, I don't have to technically have a reason. Some people just you want to you're tired, you don't feel like cooking, you want to grab something and just veg, and that's normal. That's normal, but it's not normal to do that every single day.
um, Once again, your Instagram page. I want to read you a quote.
Mhm.
But I knew that life I was living was in fact life living. What does that mean? Because those are your words.
So I was not living, and what I mean by that is there's so many things that I want to do. There's so many things that I want to do, but I was living, but I wasn't living. So basically, what that means is I was breathing, I was existing. Yeah, my mom, my family acknowledged me, but it's not living. I very rarely went upstairs because I lived in the basement, like we had a finished basement. I very rarely was like a part of going upstairs and maybe hanging out, only when I was hungry or my mom was like, "Hey, I made dinner." Otherwise, it was down back to the video games and having snacks and just hanging out. I wasn't going out with friends. I wasn't doing a lot of different things. Now I'm living. I moved to a different state. I go out places. We have other friends that that are couples that we go out with. And yes, sometimes most of the time we'll go out to a restaurant, but that's where I factor into everything of, oh, I still remain on plan. I could go to Longhorn Steakhouse and get a steak and some asparagus. I don't have to eat the nachos. I don't have to eat all the bread. I don't have to do any of that. When I was living at home and I was living back then in my past, I was just coasting. I was living. I wasn't that to me, that was enjoying it. I was going out to Applebee's and scarfing everything that I could just because that was to me, that was living. And there were times where I knew for a fact that, yeah, I'm living, but eventually I'm going to die. And maybe that's just the way it is. Maybe I was just destined to be the fat guy. All right, so I'm fat, big deal. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm nowhere near thin. I weigh 348 pounds today. I still have a long ways to go. But when I started this, I weighed 480. So I did take over 130 pounds off, but I don't feel the way that I used to feel. And I also have on my home screen on my phone a picture of me at my heaviest, just so it reminds me every day of what I look like and who I used to be. Because when I look at that, it's like, you know how they say, oh, it's like a flash, like right before your eyes. That's what that, when I see that picture, that's what it looks like to me. There's a picture I have, I believe in a reel on my page, where I was at my cousin's wedding and my face was so big to the point where I looked like I was ready to explode. And I sometimes still have nightmares about that.
Um, with weight loss, I
Hmm.
would think that you would mentally go through changes. How
Yeah.
important is it for you to talk to with the massive weight loss that you're having? How important is it to talk to somebody about what you're going through? Because weight loss has so many different stages to it, and you go through so many different emotions. Like from when you started to now, I can easily say to you, you probably don't feel the same way. You probably feel like a different person. Kind of like when you lose that 100 pounds, that's like losing a person.
Yeah, of course it is. It's to me. I always say it's like losing a small woman. Um, but yeah, it is. It's very very different. I don't because I don't think the same. I'm I don't want to say I'm scared, but I'm cautious. So again, having a regular bag of peanut M&Ms to me is better than eating a whole pack of Oreos. You see what I'm trying to say? I'm very cautious of what I eat. I listen. I sometimes will argue with myself about having something. And then yeah, I think to myself, like, do you really need this? Do you want it? I would have never ever done that before. Never. If you would have said to me, hey, let's get pizza. Okay, let's get pizza. Sure. But now I think to myself, okay, right, you want pizza. But wait, what are we doing this weekend again? Oh, wait, we're going out with this couple for dinner on Sunday. And then your girlfriend's mom's coming. We're going to be out pretty much all week. So wait, what are you doing? Like, you see what I mean? It's a constant battle. But I also feel like the devil is sitting on my shoulder going, it's okay.
Yeah,
Do it. Do it. Come
it's
on,
like that
man.
angel and devil's like, you shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
doing this. You'll have fun on the weekend. And this devil's like,
Yep.
it's right there. It's right there. Just take it.
Yep.
One bite's not gonna kill you. But then one bite
Mm-hmm.
turns to two. It's just like it's this constant fight. I don't think people understand that when you
Always.
lose weight, it's a fight with yourself.
Always.
Not a fight
Always.
with
It's
family. It's not a fight with friends. It's a fight with yourself. And sometimes you lose that fight.
you against you. It's always you against you. And it's just me against me. When I'm in a store and I see something, I say to myself, yeah, no, I don't need that. I feel like the devil's like a child. He puts his head down, like he's so disappointed. That's too bad. That's too bad. I'm not dying because of you. I don't want to have a heart attack because of you. You know what I mean? Like I'm sorry, but that's just not. Mm-mm, nope. You know, I had somebody ask me earlier, like, do you enjoy getting compliments? Oh, yeah, sure. But at the same time, like, I don't enjoy getting compliments from the people that never given me compliments before.
Oh my God. Come on. Go ahead. Because come on. That was a good one. Because where were you when I needed you the most?
Correct. So it's and I don't know if you've ever been told this but I've been told several times, oh, you're such a good looking guy. You know, you'd be so hot if you lost weight.
Those backhanded compliments.
And it's like, you know, if I lost weight, I'm still the same person. I still have the same heart. I have the same personality. Like, what does that even mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You do meet the people that are like, oh yeah, I don't mind the size of you. Like, it's fine. Is it? But is it really though? Is it really? Is
Hmm.
it really fine? I don't think it is. And that's just the truth. And I don't know if that's a self conscious thing, but I don't, I, like I said, with compliments, if someone hasn't seen me in a long time, sure. I know when I go back to New York in December, I haven't seen my family since April. So I know when I see them in December, even though I FaceTime my mom all the time, it's going to be like, wow. And I'm not doing it for that. I know they're saying all the time, like, oh, do it for the wow, you got hot. Yeah, that's all well and good. What about do it for the wow, I feel better. Wow, I think more clearly. Wow, I don't need to go and kill myself at a buffet. I don't need to have I don't need to have six pieces of fried chicken. I don't need any of that. I'm good. I'll sit here and I'll have my eggs with my bacon and and just chill and hang out. Like I don't food is everywhere. We think about so many food choices a day. That's where the whole living statement comes into play. I was living for that. I don't want to live to think about what I'm going to eat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I just want to take it as it comes and goes, make better decisions. Because if you're a little bit better than you were yesterday, that's all that matters. Because if you were better than you were yesterday, that means you're growing. If you keep going backwards, that means you're reverting back and there's something else going on there. So, yeah, with weight loss comes a whole mentality change. And I'm told by, well, I made friends with this weight loss community, people that have done keto, and they tell me all the time, like, you changed a lot because you lost a lot of weight so far. But when you get down to the like mid 200s, you're a totally different person and you're not going to be that same person. So, whoever you are right now, enjoy him while he lasts because as you continue to go, they're slowly going to fade away and an even better version of you is going to come along. And I look at that person, I can see that person every single day in the mirror when I'm working out.
You know, you say something, you talked about growing. I always say, as a human being, it's our responsibility to learn and to grow more every day.
Mm-hmm.
Because if
Correct.
we're not, we become cavemen. We become
Mm-hmm.
conditioned to the same routine. So I'm so glad you said that. I want to talk about a statement where a lot of times we say it's easier for a man to lose weight than it is for a woman. Does that statement take away from the man's accomplishment saying, I lost the weight too?
I actually spoke about this in therapy last week with my therapist because my girlfriend, my girlfriend's overweight too, and she doesn't go as extreme as I do, and that's not to take away from anything at all. Like I always say, like you need to do what you got to do for you. You know what I mean? Like, and that's for anybody. I don't try to compete with anybody else. I compete with myself. Because everybody's at a different level. And that's where I think a lot of people are afraid to go to the gym or afraid because of the judgment. You can't think about that. Just go do you, right? I feel like sometimes my girlfriend is mostly happy for me with losing weight, but it's also maybe, I don't know, discouraging. There's a lot of different factors that come into that. Women and men are so different. Is it true that men lose weight a lot faster? Yeah. I mean, I, to be honest with you, I think it's the metabolism thing. It could be the testosterone. It's just the way we're built. Um, but yeah, and I guess there's definitely some truth to it because anytime my girlfriend and I would diet together, not doing the same thing, but again, not to put her down, I would always smoke her right by. And I think it's just I guess it's just the way it is. Does it take away from me? No, because anytime if she got on a scale and she's like, "Hey, I lost 10 pounds," I'm so happy for her, like so excited for her because that's such an accomplishment. And I know for women, it's tough. It's tough for you ladies to lose weight. That's why when I hear people like, "Oh, I only lost 4 pounds," that's amazing. 4 pounds is great. Listen, even if you lost a pound, you're a pound lighter than you were yesterday. Take it. Like if I got on the scale tomorrow's weighing day. If I only lost, if even if I gained 2 pounds, I'm like, all right, it is what it is. But if I only lost zero point 0.7, I'm like, all right, a loss is a loss to me. It's not what I probably wanted to hear, but a loss is a loss. That means I'm doing something right. You also have to understand that your body takes a long time to catch up. So it depends. Everybody's at different stages, but I don't think it takes away from anything. It shouldn't be a competition. It shouldn't be a competition. The only competition should be you versus you.
All right. I'm getting ready to run out of time, but I want to keep doing this. So we're going to close this for right now. We're going to
Mhm.
start again. Just give me a
Okay.
second. Thank Ryan. This is probably the best interview I've ever done so far. So thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
I'm gonna come. We're gonna come back to Ryan in just a second.